At around 9:30 this morning, officials in the upstate New York town of Mohawk, about 3 hours north of New York City, responded to a report of a fire at a local residence. When they arrived on scene, they found this two-story home engulfed in flames. The individual who lives at the house was not around when officials got there, though. He had driven to a local barber shop in town, armed with a shotgun, and after a brief altercation with those inside, he opened fire, killing 2 customers inside the barber shop and wounding 2 more. The suspect then left that barber shop, his house on fire, and headed to his next destination, a car wash and oil change shop called Gaffey's Fast Lube in the nearby town of Herkimer, New York. He got out of his car there, he entered the shop with his shotgun, and then he started firing. When the smoke cleared, 2 more people were dead. After shooting up the Fast Lube, the suspect then holed himself up in this abandoned building across town. He left his car parked outside. When police officers discovered it, he started shooting at them from inside the building. This is the man police believe went on that mass shooting spree today. A 64-year-old resident of the town of Mohawk, New York, has been described as a loner by a number of people in town who knew him. Tonight, police remain in a standoff with that suspect who is still holed up in that building. This multiple shooting in Herkimer County, New York today happened just a short distance from another recent mass shooting in upstate New York in the town of Webster. That shooting was Christmas Eve. A 62-year-old gunman set fire to his own house in Webster and then ambushed the firefighters who arrived on scene to respond. He killed 2 of them and he injured 4 others. Yesterday, one of the firefighters who was injured in that shooting, firefighter Ted Scardino, testified before a congressional gun violence forum in Washington. Today in Washington, the group Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America descended on Capitol Hill to add their voices to the debate as well. So there's all this political pressure right now for Congress to act on guns. All this pressure coming from pro-reform groups and from recent victims of gun violence. Simultaneously, there are these continuing incidents every single day of shootings across the country. Herkimer, New York today is just the latest. Almost every day now, a columnist at the New York Times named Joe Nocera does something he calls the Day in Gun Violence. In today's installation, today in Florida, a woman was arrested for allegedly shooting and killing her ex-boyfriend, who she just happened to run into at a local post office. In Washington State, a 14-year-old boy, upset over being grounded by his parents, pulled out a .22 caliber revolver that his parents kept in the house. He approached them and emptied the chamber. Both of his parents suffered gunshot wounds to the head. In Oregon, a convicted felon captured by police after allegedly gunning down his grandparents. The grandparents had thrown him a welcome home party to celebrate his release from prison. Authorities say they believe he shot and killed both his grandparents after that party. But listen to this part. Quote, detectives learned from a search of computer data that the suspect had researched gun shows in Washington and Nevada either just before or just after his grandparents were killed. At some gun shows, of course, some sellers are not required to conduct background checks or maintain sale records as gun shop purchases do. That specific loophole, not requiring a background check to buy a gun at a gun show, that is what Congress has its sights on right now, a bill to require universal background checks on all gun purchases. Passed the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday. It's now headed to a full vote in the Senate. That bill, importantly, didn't get 1 vote from Republicans on that committee. It passed with only Democratic support. But there is news tonight that there may be something of a political breakthrough coming on that issue. NBC News is reporting tonight that the NRA, which has long stood in the way of universal background checks, will not oppose universal background checks as long as private dealers are not mandated to maintain records of those checks. Democrats and gun reform groups are balking at that demand by the NRA, but the fact that the NRA now appears to be giving ground on the background check issue, that could be a very big deal. That is the first real glimmer of something happening on this issue as a result of the days and weeks and months of mounting political pressure, and as we saw today in upstate New York, real-world pressure as well. This story, which everybody tells us cannot move, appears to be moving as well tonight. But stay tuned. Now it's time for the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Thanks for being with us tonight. Have a great night.